Alright, this is for you who thought I had a hot air intake. Alright, there blows cold air. This blows way more cold air than stock. That connects into a tube that blows cold air from up front. And I've added an air inlet from the front. This blows super cold air. I mean, just wonderful cold air. 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome to the D.E. Nichols channel. Autobottom.com. I bought a 3.5 inch pipe. I think this is made by Spectre here. And it just threads up underneath the bumper and around and up underneath the battery. There's this webwork of plastic that sucks in cold air here and down there. Now originally the one inside the bumper, that was supposed to go off of a canister so that if any water got into the system over here, it would drain there before it got to the air filter. Well, as you can see, my bumper is no longer the color of the rest of the car. Eventually I'll paint the whole car in the bumper. Well, the accident that caused that damage also took out the canister and its ability to be connected up. It also took out this being levelly sealed. So my Canon air filter was as dirty in a year as it was 7 years previous to that with one cleaning. This was throwing dirt through here, and I knew that in October I typically had a rainy drive. Yeah, look, October and rain. Can you hear that lovely pitter-patter? I like the sound. So anyway, long story short, I had no idea how I was going to restore this system when I couldn't get this plastic shield to work and keep the dirt from coming up from underneath into here and getting it filthy. So I'm risking hydrolock, frankly. So what I decided to do is get a hot air intake. And, you know, that's actually what it was. It was the cooler part of the year. It rains a lot that time of year. And I immediately got better performance because it pulled hot enough air. The air was actually too cold for the car. So, in colder season, once it's cold in the afternoon is my rule. It can't just be cold in the morning. Because when I drive home, I have no power with that low, without getting some cold air. But once I do have that first cold afternoon, well, I'll admit I've had a few of them. But once I do, I plug this up to stop the cold air intake, because to have efficiency and power, you actually have to be at a minimum temperature. So, this is why I like hot air intakes. I've lived in cold places. I mean, they're warm for America, but they're cold, if you get what I'm saying. Okay? They do get really cold, frigid winters and snow and stuff like that. But just fall until it's warm again, that's what I'm going to do. I run 530 in my engine. They've changed the device that you can run 520 in the 1ZZ FE now. But I just, you know, it's older, things are a little bit looser. I run 1030 in the summer and 530 in the winter. Or since I only do once a year oil changes, I end up with 530 in the winter, add a little heavy duty stabilizer or Lucas additive for the summer. And that's how I get my 530 to go year round. It's just a little squirt, and it seems to make it just like 1030. I don't ever put a whole bottle of Lucas full synthetic oil additive. I think that's insane. I've had friends that are like, man, that crud was everywhere. Okay, I realized I had some personal data showing up on my last shoot, so this will be during the day versus last night when I filled up. But you can see I went 193.9 miles, 5.971 gallons. The math on that is 32.37 miles per gallon.
So you can see clearly how much it does for you to change over to a hot air intake versus a cold air intake when you have gotten to cold, slimy weather. So hopefully I can edit all this together and make it look good. I mean, I admit I had some freeway driving, but what's been odd about my car is that freeway driving has actually been less miles per gallon than city miles per gallon. So, as odd as that might be, it's for a fact the case. So if anything, finally getting this instead of 27 miles per gallon just means that I've finally succeeded on improving the situation. I mean, I have had an oil change in the middle for this gas tank as well. I hate having two variables, but you know, when it comes to cars, it seems like there's always more than one thing that needs to be done and more than one variable that's going to be affected. So I can't help that. As the oil gets old, I'll probably have a whole new set of situations with a whole new set of parts. So, apologies. It's not 100% scientifically accurate, but at least I'm encouraged with what I've tried to do. So, there you have it. Those were the changes. At least from my active looking at an MPG from Torque, while that's not as accurate as a hand jam, it does show that my MPGs are up tremendously in the city, and it was cold one day when I hit the freeway. Cold and wet. Look at that. Everything's cold and wet right now. Okay? It was cold one day when I hit the freeway, and I didn't have the rags in like I was supposed to because I'd had some hot driving and traffic earlier, and my intake was a lot colder. I noticed, it was like 17, 18 degrees C instead of a nice 30 degrees C. And I noticed that things just weren't as efficient. I had a good 3 miles per gallon less on my instant MPG. And during the trip, consistently driving up and down some hills on the freeway, I saw the same thing. So you can have too cold air for sure. So highly recommend hot air intakes for warmer situations. And it's not quite that simple. I mean, you got to monitor your own temperatures for your IAT and see what your car is doing, what can be improved on for your environment. This is really not the how-to. It's the proper thinking that can help you find a way to the right how-to for you and your car. Okay? So experiment, try, fail, whatever. Even failures teach us. Thomas Edison said that it just required 1,000 steps to make a proper light bulb. Not that he had 1,000 failures. Okay? So get out there and work on something.